What's going on, y'all? Another random topic video. This one's gonna be a shorter story than some of the other stories I did. This one's gonna pretty much talk about my time at the West End Community Center. One of the first things when we came to this country, I'm like 2-3 years old, like 2.5. By the time I turned like 3-4, my mom starts taking me to daycare. Well, the daycare was the West End Community Center. It was a place where she could take us while she was at work, come pick us up when she got out of work. A place where we could interact with other kids and regular old daycare center. Not only was it a daycare center, it also had a side. It was like two sides to it when I got there. One side was the community center part for the older kids. I say like, let me say, kindergarten through like 8th grade, I think. Yeah, like kindergarten to 8th grade. Then the other side was the daycare center. So when we first got here, I started off at the daycare center. Me and my sister, actually no, because my sister was a couple years older than me. So she started on the community center side. I'm on the daycare. And for a couple years, that's just how it was. I vaguely remember like taking naps over there. We used to call it the little side. Yeah, I just vaguely remember taking naps over there. I don't remember much else out of there. I mean, I'm like 3-4 years old. As I got older, went over to the community center side where started making some of my first friends ever. My boy Calvin, who I also ended up going to school with at Bishop McVinney. Some people I don't really speak to anymore, but at the time, my boy Chris, his sister, P.O., what I'm saying, who was also like my neighbor. Actually, her mom is the one who told my mom about this place. We lived in a house in the West End on Wendell Street. We lived on the 3rd floor, they lived on the 2nd floor. There was like these Spanish kids on the 1st floor. And then so her mom, who's also Liberian, told my mom about, there's this place called the West End. You can take your kids there. It's a daycare center. When they get older, they get to the community center. It's a good place to take them. I take my daughter there. And so, it was a great place to be. And, I had my very first crush there. It was one of the counselors. Her name was Felicia. She was more like a tomboy, and I liked it because she was fly as hell. Like I think that's probably my first tomboy I ever seen. She used to come with the freshest Jordans and swishies and t-shirts. I was like, yo, and she was cute. And I remember, we all had a damn crush on her. Like, she was actually one of the newer counselors who was there. So a lot of the kids were there before she even got there. So when she first got there, we're like, oh shit. She was young too. She might have been like 18, 19 at the time. She would actually be my counselor when I went to college at URI during the talent development program, oddly enough. But back in those days, she was something special. Matter of fact, I had her as a counselor 2 more times in life. At TD summer, and then the summer going into high school, I went to the ×2 program, and she was a counselor there as well. So I seen her at like different phases of my life, and I doubt she remembered me because I was just one of like, it was dozens of kids that went to the West End Community Center. So, but anyway, yeah, I had a crush. I remember the only one who had the nerve to say that he liked her was Chris. Like the rest of us was shy. He was the only one. He called her over there. He was like, "Hey, Felicia, come here," and he wanted to show the rest of us it wasn't a big deal to talk to girls, and he just was like, hey, I like you, and she's older. She's looking at, we're like 5 years old, and you know what I'm saying? I remember thinking, damn, that shit was dope. Like, I've never seen a dude, this is like my first time seeing a dude, especially my age, talk to a girl, and even though he wasn't gonna holler at her, but just even him being able to say, hey, I like you, that was a big deal to the rest of us. We was impressed. We was looking around like, oh shit, like Chris is real. And then she kind of didn't, she's like, oh yeah, thanks. She don't care a bunch of 5-year-olds like her. Yeah, so that was that. At the West End, this is when I first started playing sports, because that's literally all we used to do. You had a couple options. You could go on a computer, you could play like board games, you could just sit around and talk with your friends, or you could play sports. I always like being active and running, and so I just love sports, and we would play all kind of sports. We played basketball. There was like a court right next to it. It was like a park right behind it. Buckland Park. It had a baseball field. It had a pool. And it was like Buckland basketball court right there. So we used to go over there, play basketball, and we played baseball. There was like a little playground right in the backyard of the Western Community Center, and there was actually 2 playgrounds. There was one playground for the Western Community Center that was on their property, and there was another one for which was a community playground right around where the basketball court was, like between the basketball court and the swimming pool. It was like kid heaven over there. We played baseball out in the yard around where the playground area was. Usually it was where the little kids used to play, but when we would do our activities, they usually would be inside. So whenever they was inside, we was outside. When they was outside, we was inside. And I just love playing sports. I remember hitting home runs when we would play baseball, and I love basketball and I love football. It was just always a good time. Like, it was never a dull day. Constantly have all these different activities, and outside of just the activities, they would have some organized things that they would have us do, like handball tournaments, or they might have board game tournaments, or on any given day. You never know what you may have walked into. They always had something for us to burn off some energy before our parents came to pick us up. One thing about me at that time, me, Calvin, we used to love hanging with the older kids. They used to separate the tables. It was like 3 tables in there, right? It was like one table, which was in a corner, or on the side, first to third. No, it was like first and second. The other table was third and fourth, and the last table was fifth and up. From first grade, me and Calvin would always sneak to the older table to try to hang out with the fifth and up table. We thought we was cool like that, and it never failed. We usually got, I say 90% of the time, we got caught, and they used to send us back to our table. But there was these few moments, or these few times where we got away with it, and we was able to chill with the older kids. And I don't know, that was the thing back then. When you were young, you wanted to be older. Nowadays it's the opposite. Older people want to be young. I mean, kind of odd to me, but it was what it was. Yeah, the older kids were just cool. The things they used to talk about, they was already into girls and dating and all these different things. And our friends was talking about fucking this little kid stuff. I don't know, me and Cal always felt we was like a cut above our peers, so we always wanted to hang out at the older table. And the funny thing is, there would be times where I would get caught and sent back to the little table or the younger table, and Cal might be able to stay there, and I never snitched on him. There might be times where he would get caught. I'd be hiding behind somebody trying to make myself look small, and he would get sent back, and I'd be laughing at him. I mean, them were the good old days, man. Yeah, West End, that's what it was. This is part 1, my West End Community Center stories. Check out for part 2. Holla.